Hi there, it's Laura here from iHeart Planners, and I'm going to show you the difference between Dollar Tree products and their more expensive container store counterparts. So what do you get when you splurge, and what are you giving up when you save? And I'm not just going to tell you, I'm going to take you in my pantry and show you the difference. Be sure to go ahead and subscribe, hit the bell so you'll be notified when I post a new video, and like the video. So I'll be showing you my favorite container store product for each item versus the cheaper dupe from the Dollar Tree. Now, in most cases, the item from the container store costs considerably more, but I think you get a lot for your money, but it's up to you to decide whether or not it's worth it. However, the last item I'm going to show you, even though it costs significantly less, I honestly prefer the Dollar Tree version, so I can't wait to tell you about that. Now, let's dive into our first product that I want to talk about, which is these poly envelopes. They're clear poly envelopes. These are the container store version. The container store has two sizes. This holds regular letter size paper, and this holds half letter paper or A5 paper. They're very sturdy, clear, wipeable. I like that they have a snap closure, so I feel like nothing is going to fall out. You can see that I have added an Avery tab here to write what it is, and then I put them in the multi-purpose bins, and this is how we sort all the printables that we've already printed out and taken pictures of. I also have a different one for personal files, and so I have each year's tax papers all together in one place. It's a great alternative to file folders in my opinion, and of course, perfect for the half size. You can also do receipts and coupons in these sizes. So I love that. Now, here's what the Dollar Tree version looks like. This one I got a couple of years ago. You can see that the zipper has already broken, and this is the only one I could find. So it's not as sturdy as far as the close of it goes. This is a little bit thinner than the container store version, but not by a lot. So I think that's acceptable. If you're going to leave them upright, it's probably totally fine. And here you just get one for $1. Now I should note, with any of the Dollar Tree products, it's hit or miss whether you'll actually find them at your Dollar Tree. There's limited selection. They usually don't have very many. Some of them are seasonal. You can order online from the Dollar Tree, but the catch is usually there's a minimum of like 15, 20, even 30 items. So if you don't need a lot, it's going to be a little difficult, and they don't have every item there. However, the container store, you can order pretty much anything that they have online in whatever quantity you want. The other dupe from the Dollar Tree that I found just recently is a package of 3 for $1. So the price difference is huge. These are a fantastic deal. The snap closure I have not found to be in any way worse than the container store version. So it just opens right up, closes, very secure. I personally do not love that these are blue, but I can live with it to save some money. Doesn't matter too much, but I just wanted to point that out, and I don't know if they have any other colors available. I will also say this is way more crinkly. I'm sure you can hear that. That's just a little bit annoying, but that's also because it's so thin compared to this. So it's not going to stay upright quite as well, even with papers in it. But if you have them in there pretty snug in wherever you're filing them, I think it would still work. And really, if there's a spot you want to save, I think this would be a decent place to do it. I will also say that I've never seen this size at the Dollar Tree. So if you're interested in this size, you will have to stick to the container store version. So the price difference for this one, $2.99 versus 33 cents. Next up, we have my very favorite organizing product ever, the multi-purpose bin from the container store. I always say that if I were stranded on a desert island and could only pick one organizing product, it would be these. So they come in 4 sizes: small, medium, large, and extra large. The small is $4, medium is $5, large is $6, and the extra large is $7. And I have used these absolutely everywhere. You'll see them in my shelves behind me. I use them under my sink. I use them in a linen closet. I've used them in regular closets. I use them in my pantry that I'll show you in a moment. So these are super versatile. It should be noted that this extra large is actually slightly longer than any of the other sizes, and that's so that you can actually fit hanging files, or in this case, I put poly envelopes in here, and it fits them very nicely. The dupe to this is I found a couple items. It doesn't have an exact counterpart from the Dollar Tree. So what I would probably use is either these mini laundry baskets, so in a closet you could throw clothes or things in here, or this rectangular bin. So these are what I would probably use instead of that. And you can see that you lose a lot of space with these. And I'll show you exactly what this looks like in my pantry. So here we are using the multi-purpose bins from the Container Store. We've used them in our entire pantry so that it all looks cohesive. And the reason I love using these in the pantry is I feel like we've wasted almost no space. They fill up almost the whole depth of the shelf. Also, when it comes to bins like this, you'll notice they do not actually come in very far at the beginning. And they do that so that they stack. So you want them to come in a little bit. Otherwise, when you're bringing them home from the store, you wouldn't be able to stack any of them. And it's more expensive for them to transport to the store and things like that. So you're not losing a lot of space that way. They're also pretty easy to pull out, and they just cover the entire space well. You also have 4 size options, so I can pick what is ideal for what I have. I don't have to only have this size. I can have the skinny size that fits cans upright. This size, and I don't know why we haven't done it, will actually fit cans going sideways pretty nicely in there. So if you had all of one thing, you could do that. So that's why I love these bins for the pantry organizing. But I want to take a look at what would happen if we were on a strict budget and we were only using Dollar Tree items in the pantry. How would that be worse? What kind of space would we lose? So let's check that out. That's how many? 1, 2, 3, 6 of the round bins fit in there. This is large. And then 3 large. You want to get a shot of the 3 large. So here on this shelf, we have replaced the Container Store bins. We had 6 small, 5 medium, and 3 large of the multi-purpose bins that we replaced with these Dollar Tree bins. So this is one of the closest comparisons that I could find, and let me point out the differences. So we were able to actually fit everything in here. However, note that those bins were very unfull. Like some of them only had 1 or 2 cans in them. So if you were to have a full space, there'd be no possible way that you could possibly fit everything in these bins. Next up, the most obvious difference is this is very cheapy plastic. Like, you know, and even when you go to hold it, you'll notice how cheapy it is and how it wants to tip. So, of course, you know, we know that's going to happen. Also, I want to point out, when you put smaller items in, these holes start at the very bottom. So these are going to have a tendency to fall out. So that's less ideal. Obviously, the circular shape doesn't make it as easy. And this is not quite as organized. Like they're kind of all in here in it's just not as easy to organize in the circular shape. It's harder to find things. And also, since we were able to fit so many fewer bins, so fewer bins here, it means that we can't categorize as much. So we're gonna have to combine multiple varieties of canned goods. Whereas if we would have used the multi-purpose bins, we could have put like all green beans in one, all fruit in one. So it didn't really allow us to get things as categorized as we might like. And also, it's heavy, like having to put this much in, it's hard and heavier to like get something out of the bottom. Like notice how much we had to really stuff this. There's popcorn down there, a bunch of cans. I mean, we had to really stuff them to get it to fit. So the total of using the multi-purpose bins here was $66.86. The best deal I've gotten on them is 20% off, so you can do the math there. And this only took $6. So while this is not as ideal, we definitely did save quite a bit of money. So we replaced our multi-purpose bins with these Dollar Tree bins. On the multi-purpose bins, I think we had 6 total bins, and they cost $35 from the Container Store. This cost us just $4 from the Dollar Tree. So we saved quite a bit of money. Now, the downsides are, this is obviously cheaper plastic. It also has, I don't know if you can see it here, these notches on the bottom, and it makes it a lot harder for us to pull the bins out. They don't slide out quite as nicely. Obviously, we've replaced them with fewer bins, so we can't categorize quite as much. We had to stuff them a bit fuller. We didn't have them completely full here. And we do have the hole issue. Now, these are smaller than the holes in the green basket, so that's an advantage. But if you had small items, you might still have problems with things falling out. Now, I will definitely say that if I had to reorganize my pantry from the Dollar Tree, I would choose these bins, these blue bins, over the green bins. They're just, the shape of them fits more, is better. I will also point out, if you're comparing them to a multi-purpose bin, these angle in a lot further, so they nest completely. If it went straight up, you would lose less space. So that is something to keep in mind. And these feet on them, I'm gonna call them, really do mess it up on these wired shelves. Like, it doesn't fit in there well, so you'll see it's kind of crooked. That's because the feet are really messing it up. So that is a huge pain point for me, whereas the multi-purpose bins are completely smooth. And as always, the plastic just makes it a little bit harder to carry the bin if you wanted to carry it somewhere because of how cheap it is, especially if you have a lot of weight on it. Next item from the Container Store that I love is this handled clear bin. So I love that this fits in my upper cabinets and I can still close them all the way. For people like myself who are not overly tall, if you're reaching up, it's very handy to be able to pull it down with a handle and still be able to access those items on a top shelf. You can see what you have. It also doesn't curve in too much, so I don't feel like I'm losing much space. I organize things like medicines, various little items in my cabinet. I even have recipe cards in one of these. The counterpart from the Dollar Tree, this one is $4. This is obviously $1, is this. So it looks pretty similar. It's a little bit bigger. Also, I should point out, as best as I know, it only comes in this obnoxious red color. So if you care about the color, you're gonna have to go with Container Store version. If you don't mind the red color, you can go with this one. This is what I would say the main problem with this is. You'll notice how this is just a little bit deeper, which ordinarily wouldn't bother me. However, if you're trying to put this in an upper cabinet, this will not fit in a standard upper cabinet. So you'll not be able to use it there. That's why I splurge on the $4 one instead of the $1 one. Now, if you want to put this on open shelving, I've done it before in my laundry room. Like, I had laundry pods in here and small detergent in another one and dryer sheets in one. It works great. So it really depends on the use. If it's open shelving and you don't mind the red, I would save the money and get this one. But if you want to put it in your upper cabinets, I would definitely splurge on this one. Next up, we have these stackable letter trays. These are from the Container Store in the pop-in line. They have lots of very bright colors. I have the aqua color here. And these are $15 each. So you'll have to add it up for how many you want to stack. Versus at the Dollar Tree, these are their paper trays, $1 each. So we're definitely going to save a lot of money on this one by using the Dollar Tree version. Now, the difference, obviously this acrylic is much sturdier. I slightly prefer the color of the acrylic, but I like that this comes in pink. I also saw it in this blue color, so whichever color you prefer. One thing to note about the storage is that this particular one, it does not, so the back of it is all even. Whereas this one, as you would stack more, it's going to take up more and more space. So you need a little bit more depth for this one because of the way that it stacks. Also, this one is much taller. So while you could fit more paper in it, it would take you more space to have 5 categories, for example. So that's something to keep in mind. I do feel that this particular one is pretty sturdy. The way that it stacks, it has a little post that sticks in here and a little spot there. It's surprisingly sturdy. It takes a little bit to get it in properly, but once it's in, I don't feel like it's just gonna fall off as I use it. So I definitely think there is a lot going for the Dollar Tree version on this just because of how much money it's going to save you. The biggest reason why you might want to splurge on the Container Store version is if you want to have a lot of categories and you don't have a super tall space for it. Next up, I'm going to talk about the item where I actually prefer the cheaper Dollar Tree version. So these drawer organizers, you get 2 of this size for $1 or 3 of this size for $1. So obviously a great value. The most direct duplicate I found at the Container Store were these bins. This one is $2 and this one is $1.60. So still very affordable for the Container Store, but you have to keep in mind, you're comparing this $2 with this where you get 2 for $1. So this is literally 4 times as much as this one. So you kind of have to keep that in mind as you're comparing prices. Now, the Container Store version is much, much sturdier. Like it's a much thicker plastic, much sturdier. I can't bend it as easily. These are very thin, bendable plastic. However, in this case, I actually prefer the thinner, more bendable plastic because when I'm organizing a drawer, I like there to be a little bit of give. Like if it is a 1/4 of an inch off on this situation, it's going to be like you're trying to put them side by side. It's going to be really hard to kind of put it in there versus here, if it's just a 1/4 of an inch, you can make it fit. So I actually really like that. I also like that for me, the Dollar Tree is way closer to me and they almost always have these. I've never been at a time when they didn't have these in stock. So if I need to pick up more, it's super easy. If I just need 1 more of those to go in my space, super easy to do that. I will also mention another dupe from the Container Store might be these bricks. This one's $4. As you go up in size, the price of these goes up considerably. But the one big advantage to this is that there is no wasted space. They don't nest inside of each other at all, so I could stack another one on top. That means 0 wasted space, whereas each of these curve in just slightly so that they can nest inside of each other while they're not in use. So that's one thing to keep in mind and one reason you might choose this. This also has higher options, so if you wanted to put it in a deeper drawer or store bigger items, that would be an option for you. But I really think you cannot go wrong with these. So I hope this has helped you choose the products that are right for you. As you can see, I don't think there's one right answer all the time. I enjoy products from both the Container Store and the Dollar Tree, so I hope you can choose the ones that work best for you. And if you want even more help getting organized, I highly recommend you sign up for my free mini e-course called Get Organized Once and For All that will help you set up systems in your home that will stand the test of time. Just click the link to get signed up, and please let me know in the comments if you have any Dollar Tree or Container Store favorite products that you like to organize with. And we'll see you next week.